Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ringing the Blues, the official Wycombe Wanderers podcast in partnership with Virgin Media. On the show this week we have all the action and reaction from the trip to Lincoln City, plus Wycombe Wanderers fanatic Paul Stevens joins us in Till Death Us Do Part. But first, let's catch up with the Liga Juan results and some Chairboys Spanish with Uri in Mexico City.
We are ringing the blues from Mexico City. It's me, Uri, and here are the results for League One. Bolton Wanderers 2, Blackpool 1, Shrewsbury Town 3, Birmingham City 2, Stevenage 0, Leyton Orient 0, Barnsley 0, Wigan Athletic 1, Burton Albion 0, Stockport County 3, Crawley Town 1, Rotherham United 0, Huddersfield Town 2, Charlton Athletic 1, Lincoln City 2, Wycombe Wanderers 3, Mansfield Town 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Northampton Town 0, Cambridge United 0, Peterborough United 1, Reading 2, Wrexham 3, Exeter City 0. So that's 9 wins in a row in all competitions. The last time Wycombe did this was back in 1992-1993 season. So we are talking and we are witnessing a historical team living a marvelous era. We are very illusioned on this side of the Atlantic. Come on, Wycombe, number 1 in the league. So Chairboys Spanish this week, 9 wins in a row in all competitions. Okay, let's go word by word. How do we say 9? 9. 9. Wins, ganados. Wins, ganados. In a row. En fila. Row, fila. In all competitions. All, todas. Competitions, competencias o competiciones. So 9 wins in a row in all competitions is 9 ganados en fila en todas las competencias. That's it for this week and back to England with my amigo Filiberto Cachapollos. Adios.
Cheers, Uri. Magnificent as ever. Right then, Wycombe Wanderers were chasing 9 consecutive victories for the first time in their Football League era. They travelled to Lincoln and here's what happened. Irohon out wide again. Cross comes in. Diriqua scores! Right-footed volley. Lincoln City have the lead. Diriqua with it. The cross came in, it was low. Diriqua had space. About 11 yards from goal. Swept it into the bottom corner. Ravazzoli with no chance. And the Imps have the lead. Out wide to Morley into Onyedinma. Pattenden gets through his man brilliantly. Finds Humphreys, edge of the area. Humphreys curls it towards Kone. Kone controls and scores! Wycombe Wanderers working it brilliantly. Matt Bloomfield punches the air in the direction of the Wycombe fans. Jasper Pattenden, Cameron Humphreys, scintillating wing play. Richard Kone, as soon as he took the ball out from the sky, there was only one thing that was going to happen. The net bulges. It's Lincoln City 1, Wycombe Wanderers 1. 34 minutes on the clock. Kone, 9th goal of the season for him. Give it back to Joe Lowe, who carves it down the line to Onyedinma. Onyedinma to Kone. Kone, lovely play to Humphreys. Humphreys spreads it wide to Udo. Udo versus Diriqua. Wycombe Wanderers with some electric play. Harvey's on the overlap, goes past his man, cuts it back. Onyedinma! What a goal by Wycombe Wanderers! Superb football. Never mind the conditions. Wycombe Wanderers can do it on a wet afternoon in Lincoln. Stroking the ball round with purpose. Harvey, what an engine. What a cutback. Onyedinma. What a goal scoring record since returning. It's Lincoln City 1, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Lincoln looks stunned. What a fantastic goal by Wycombe Wanderers. Harvey into Kone. Kone sets it to Leahy. Bursting through. Now it's Onyedinma, narrow angle, brought down, and it is a penalty. Seb Stockbridge points to the spot. Fred Onyedinma scythed down. Leahy with the pass through, and Onyedinma taken down from behind, and it's a penalty to Wycombe. Seb Stockbridge, it's the fourth penalty he's given in a Wycombe game in his last two outings. 3 last time out against Oxford United last season, and 1 today so far. But it's Luke Leahy then, left-footed, and his penalty saved against Crawley in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, as it was then the other week. It was a well-struck penalty. It was a brilliant save that day. Luke Leahy then up against George Wickens. Leahy approaches the ball, and it's saved again. Leahy went down the middle. Wickens dived to his left and left the leg hanging there, and that was enough. Penalty saved. Everyone back for Lincoln. Leahy with the corner, drifts it in, looking for Kone, drops the Uno, shot comes in, it's charged away. McCleary goes to the back post, Jolo! Wycombe don't have the 2-goal cushion now, and Jolo couldn't miss from there. Superb cross from Gareth McCleary. The Wycombe substitute picked out the gargantuan figure of Joe Lowe at the back post, who nodded it down, and it's Lincoln 1, Wycombe Wanderers 3. The run of scoring 3 goals in games is, it's not every game now, but it's most games. 3 goals on the road for Wycombe Wanderers again. Joe Lowe powering home the header. What a cross by Gareth McCleary. Busy penalty area. Drilled in low. Drops to the edge of the box. Shot comes in and it's there. What a strike by Dariqua. First time thunderbolt into the top corner, and that's made things interesting. The run continues. That's 9 consecutive wins in all competitions. It's a bit of a pinch yourself moment for Wycombe fans.
I think it is, and for me as well. It's so much hard work goes into doing this job, and there's we've spoken about when you have tough moments, but when you have moments like this, I hope the boys and I hope the supporters are really enjoying it, because they spend their hard work and their time to support us and travel around the country. And I just felt like today there was I just said before, it felt like their belief in the players radiated onto the pitch today. We went 1-0 down, but they didn't stop singing, and that belief, I could feel it from my right hand side, and it just felt like it radiated down onto the pitch. So I really, really hope they're enjoying watching their team and they're proud of their team.
Can't remember how many times we scored 3 goals this season, but when you do go a goal down, I think that's where that belief comes from those fans, because they expect it now for us to come back.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Sometimes you hope for it to happen, and they're expecting it at the moment. They're believing it, I think, is the main word for us. They're believing that their team is going to keep fighting and keep trying to play the stuff we're trying to play and keep threatening the opposition's goal. So yeah, it's a lovely, lovely moment to be in when they believe that that's going to happen and they expect for it to happen, and we have to retain that belief and that momentum and use it for Tuesday night, because we're in for another tough game.
A big week for Richard Kone fans as well. The news of his contract extension and a customary goal as well at the back post.
I think we're all Richard Kone fans, aren't we? I don't think I'd find a Wycombe fan or a member of staff who's not a Richard Kone fan. He's a great lad. We can keep repeating ourselves. He's an incredible young man who just conducts himself with the greatest of integrity, and I feel fortunate to be working with him. He's a great boy. We've got to keep his feet on the floor, and I know we will. But yeah, he's got a knack of scoring goals, and as a manager, it's lovely to have him about.
And you must have been smiling after that second goal, because that was some fantastic football.
Yeah, we were just speaking downstairs. It's about, we do a lot of work with the players on a mini pitch because we can't pick up the distances that they cover on a match day, but we're trying to get that repetition of patterns into them. And when a goal like that comes off, it's really, really pleasing for Tom and myself because we put so much work into it. And when it comes off like that, it's really pleasing.
Fred Onyedinma, 5 goals, 1 assist in 9 starts in the league. That's some going.
Yeah, Fred's top for the level, isn't he? I knew we were fighting a tough battle to try and get him in the summer, but God loves a trier, and I kept asking, and eventually, if you ask enough times, he might give in, and he did. So getting back to our football club, we know what the supporters think of him, and he's enjoyed some really good times with us before. So to get him back was really, really big, and he's an absolute threat at the top of the pitch. I know he's played as a wing back at times as well, but I feel like keeping his pace and keeping that attacking threat and that goal scoring just instinct that he has, and it's paying off at the moment for him.
Lincoln are a good side, and that first 10-15 of the second half was tough too.
Yeah, Lincoln are very good, mate. Scoobs has done an incredible job here. I think a lot of Scoobs. I think he's great, and they've recruited extremely well. The relentless nature of them just makes it so hard to play against, and they've got a real robust unit. They all know their jobs, and real threat at the top of the pitch. So we knew it was going to be a tough afternoon. They come out fighting second half, and Franco's save at 2-1 was a really big moment in the game. There's no denying that. So fortunately for us, he pulled it off, and then we kind of found ourselves getting back in the game and off our attacking threat. Could have maybe got a couple more than what we did, but again, that Wycombe spirit to see the game out, we have to be really pleased.
It could have been more as well. The penalty save, the Gareth McCleary chance too.
Yeah, it could have been, and I think that at 3-1 we needed to make sure we kept it at 3-1. The second goal was disappointing, but it would have been nice to make it a little bit more comfortable at the end, but to come through those moments and you see the lads and that spirit, togetherness of getting through those moments, it only adds to it.
And Brandon Hannon looking impressive again, coming off the bench. You must be delighted. It's almost like a new signing.
Yeah, I had a moment with Brands. We had a bit of a chat in the lift actually at the hotel this morning. He was going to get himself a coffee, and he just saying how much he just really enjoying his football and just feels so fortunate to be back playing. And obviously I had a similar experience, a little bit younger than what he was when he did his ACL, but you just learn to kind of accept and just savour it a little bit more. And he's playing with a freedom, especially once the game opens up in the last 20 minutes. To have him coming on is a real threat for us.
And courtesy of Birmingham losing at Shrewsbury, 4 points clear at the top of the league.
Yeah, I'm not looking at that, mate. I'm not. It's a lovely moment for us to be in, and we have to enjoy it because football does give you a lot of tough moments, so we have to enjoy it. I hope the fans are enjoying it, but for me, and Cerny's going to have to listen to me the whole way back to Ipswich now, driving, talking about Mansfield, getting ready for Tuesday night, and we have to attack that with the same intensity that we did today.
It's thick and fast. 2-2, congratulations, and the win.
Yeah, not too bad. 2-2. Shame about the clean sheet, but glad we got it over the line.
Talk us through your goal, because that Gareth McCleary cross, superb.
Yeah, I think he didn't mean it, but no, he did. He absolutely meant it. Saw me at the back post, I was free, and just nodded it in.
And you talked about the goals conceded. I mean, the second one from Lincoln made a real game of it, but it was a hell of a strike by the lad. Yeah,
David and I were speaking after the game. We were stood side by sides, and he probably put it the only place that he could have, and it's a great finish. Yeah, but it's a real frustrating win.
Coming up on the motorway today, everyone's talking about the storm and the conditions. Very windy here. It's very open, but it was a great game of football considering the rain and the wind.
Yeah, there was a little bit of wind. I think you didn't really notice it too much, but no, it was a good game of football, I thought, and one to be proud of. Was there much in it in terms of winning the toss and shooting away? Was there much in that decision? Because the goal kicks certainly were hanging in the air. Yeah, no, the goal kicks were the one bit that really caught the wind. Apart from that, it wasn't too bad, but yeah. It's a hell of a run. It's 9 consecutive wins now in all competitions. I think that last time Wycombe did that was in the early 90s when they won the double coming out of what is now the National League. How does it feel to be part of a team that's doing these sorts of things? Yeah, no, we all kind of mention it now and again that we are on an unbelievable run, but we're just focused on the next game, just keeping it real simple, just keep ticking off the fixtures, and then you put these runs together without even knowing. And scoring 3 goals more often than not, it seems, at the minute too. Yeah, they're nice momentarily, but there's more things to focus on. You've got your goals. Would you take a clean sheet over scoring a goal? Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Proper defender, that's what we like. And Wycombe 4 points clear at the top of the league as well. Does that factor into what you guys talk about in the dressing room? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be brought up now and again, but we'll just try to have fun with each other, and we're just enjoying each other's company and working every day, and we'll continue to do that.
And how important was it today to get that win coming off the back of the international break? Momentum going into that break so big. To get the win today as well just means it's business as usual.
Yeah, of course. We had a lot of time together in the international break. Sometimes, when you're on a run, they can be hard, but we managed to get some good training in together and put the performance in to today.
And important to get those days rest as well, because Tuesday night we're back at it. Adams Park at home to Mansfield. That's going to be a tough game too.
Yeah, no, it'll be a tough game, but back at home, we're good at home, and we enjoy being at home.
Great to hear from the gaffer and Joe Lowe, but what about those Imps fans? They turn up in great numbers at home, and what did they have to say? We picked out the best from social media in the opposition view. Perth Imp.
What a terrific game. Wycombe were clinical in and around the box, but were always vulnerable. We just lacked quality and decision making in and around the box, and it cost us goals and points. We played some lovely stuff through the thirds, and it would have been great if we could have developed our final third quality and decision making. Wycombe knew they were in a game by the way they were celebrating at the end. It was as though they'd won the league. They demonstrated why they're top though. They are relentless and must be so fit. They don't let up for a moment.
Taylor Hayter, 1884.
An incredibly frustrating afternoon. Wycombe's anti-football came out on top. I thought the ref were terrible, falling for Wycombe's antics every time. But if us don't take our chances, we can't complain. Onwards and upwards.
Mike O'Sullivan.
Credit to Wycombe, a smaller club than us, but they've put more than a decent side together, and they stuck with Bloomfield when he went through some poor results last season. We should have been 5-1 down at one point today. They were better than us in both penalty areas. That weren't the Ainsworth ball that we've seen from Wycombe on many occasions before. They played some great football at times. I'd much rather give credit to a small club like Wycombe, nearly half our average home gate, when they beat us, than clubs like Birmingham or Wrexham, who have spent the type of money that we could never afford to, or even want to.
Wellington Imp.
We put a good shift in, but didn't have the quality to get anything from the game. We possibly deserved a point, but fair play to Wycombe. They look like a side that will be straight up, or thereabouts.
Imps Joe.
Oh, another game where we should have got more out of it than we did. I think we were worth a point. The big difference between us and Wycombe is not only the finishing, although they did miss a couple of good chances, but that final ball into the box. We made a couple of really poor final passes. Wycombe are a very good team though, and look very purposeful going forward.
Pompey Imp 2.
A good performance from us against a very good, particularly at time wasting, Wycombe team.
Imp 73.
Well, there really weren't much between the two teams, and on another day we could have had a different outcome. As good as Wycombe were, I didn't feel like the Birmingham game where I thought they were a level above. But Wycombe do have some very good attacking players in red-hot form.
Chimp Imp.
I thought Wycombe were a big, strong side with a fair bit of quality. You can see why they've been winning a lot of games. They have plenty of goal threat, but we created enough chances to win the match and actually scored enough goals to win the match too. But you don't get many points when you concede 3 goals. I don't think we're that far off. Long way to go.
Sir Udo of Onware.
I were impressed by Wycombe. They were strong in defence and quick in transition from defence to attack. They also had plenty of pace and a really good understanding between their forwards.
Snats.
You can see why Wycombe are where they are. Their second goal were class.
There's been a rumour that there's a new lightning-fast player in town, and I can confirm these rumours are correct. Virgin Media is here and is guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser. If you're tired of your broadband giving you the blues every time you want to do something, fear not. Virgin Media are right here in Wycombe and have brought their lightning-fast full fibre to the area to keep you entertained in between matches. Tuck into as many live sporting events, movies, games and tunes as your heart desires. Not forgetting our podcast with unlimited downloads on Virgin Media's intelligent Wi-Fi. All delivered at the speeds you need to keep the whole house happy. And the best part is, you don't need to wait until the next transfer window to make Virgin Media your favourite signing of the season. Find out more at virginmedia.com or drop into your local O2 store. New customers only, eligible Virgin Fibre areas only, subject to survey, network capacity and credit check. Supporting a football club is like a marriage. Your club is there for life through the good times and the bad. We ask Chairboys fans for their most cherished old memory, their current favourite player, the best borrowed player we've ever had, and for something blue, we talk club merchandise. Okay, joining us this week is Wycombe Wanderers fan Paul Stevens. Paul, how are you? The backdrop game is fantastic, first of all.
I'm good, thanks, Phil. Good to see you.
Yeah. This backdrop is this constantly like this, or have you made an effort for this recording?
I have made a big effort. It's taken me most of last night, and I'm dreading it falling down halfway through the show. So it's held up with blue tack and all sorts of bits and pieces. So
most things in my house are similar. So let's see what happens in the next half an hour. Where does your story with Wycombe Wanderers begin?
It starts back in the early 70s. My dad was in hospital having a replacement knee operation in 1973. It must have been 1973. Wycombe General, and I'd go down to see him on a Saturday afternoon, and I'd be intercepted by the nursing teams who'd come up to me and say, "You don't want to see your dad, do you? Really?" He said, "Go into that private room over there. You can watch the football." And I started watching some games at that stage, and Dad was in for a long time. Actually, he was in for a good 6 to 8 weeks, probably. In those days, these sort of things took a long time, basically. So, and when he came out, that was it. We started going to games down at Lokes Park.
Amazing. And for our new fans, we should explain, they weren't sending you to a room with a television in. They were sending you to a room with a window that overlooked Lokes Park, which would have been a magnificent view.
That's it. It was a great view. It was one of the private rooms there. So Dad was on a ward, and so I'd go in and tell him what had happened afterwards. And we started going to games thereafter, and since that time, I've obviously, the first game I can remember going to is the Newport County game in that FA Cup run that season. I obviously saw games and went to games before that, but I have no recollection of what games they were. But since then, I've sort of sold programs at the football club. When at Lokes Park, there used to be 3 program sellers, 2 at the bottom of the hill and 1 at the top of the hill. I was one of the ones at the bottom of the hill. I've worked behind the bar at Wycombe Wanderers Club, basically at Lokes Park. I even ran the line I was a football referee for a good number of years, and I ran the line in a pre-season friendly, Wycombe versus Enfield. Got the program here.
Amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
And what was your decision making like that day, Paul? Were you?
My dad was behind me in the crowd. I know, and there was a reasonable crowd there that day, and I did hear somebody shout out something about one of my decisions, but he went very silent after that. I have a feeling my dad may have corrected him.
So Wycombe didn't score like 3 massively offside goals that day.
Do you know, I really can't remember the result that day or anything along those lines. And it was, you do think, it's the team I support and whatever else. But no, yeah. So that's where it all started. And I moved away from Wycombe in 1984, went off to Birmingham to university, and have gradually moved north since that time. But continue to watch or get to any game within 100 miles of home, I classify as within range, basically. So, and I get down to Adams Park. Get down to Adams Park probably 4 or 5 times a season if I'm lucky. Based last season was with all the international bits and pieces. I only got down the once, the first game of the season, the Exeter at home.
Yeah, that was a good game to be stuck in traffic for, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Right, well, this is excellent. This is a full range of experiences, so I'm very much looking forward to picking your brain for your memories. So we'll start off with something blue. Your favourite ever Wycombe Wanderers memory?
Well, having watched a few of these before, I know that people can give you a few and then choose their favourite memory. So as I've been around for a good few years, I think I'll do that. I'll give you a few basically. So and then tell you what my favourite memory is basically.
Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, one of my first memories I think is the 81-82 FA Trophy run. I had my first trip to Manchester, and obviously live here now. Hyde in the, I think it was one of the early rounds. Hyde United. In fact, my daughter and the granddaughter live 1.5 miles from the ground, basically from Hyde United's ground. So it's come full circle, really. So there's that one. Bishop Auckland in the next round, which seemed a really massive game because of all the history. And in fact, I've still got the Rothmans non-league yearbook from that year,
wow,
which has a photo from of that particular game, and I can spot myself in the back of the crowd there. So
amazing.
It's really sad, isn't it? That is sad.
No, not at all. This is like top level geekery, which we respect it.
Yeah, exactly. And then sort of Kidderminster away that season, which was a really tense game from memory. And then Altrincham, of course, another trip up to... And Wycombe chartered a train. I'm sure they chartered a train for the supporters to get up to that game. And the train broke down on the way home. And of course, this is in the time before mobile phones or anything along these lines. So there's my dad waiting there at the station with, only British Rail telling them what's going on, which is probably nothing really. and we got home. God knows what time in the morning we actually got home from that game. And of course, it all went pear-shaped the following week in the second leg. And I can remember the tears I had sort of going around the town afterwards because we'd lost 3-0 at home. So that's one of my real early memories of. Just
to pick you up on the Altrincham game as well, because a lot of people have put the Altrincham semi-final in 1991 as their favourite memory. And I think this is a really good sort of foundation layer for that game because they were a massive team, weren't they, back in the day? And they were a bit of a bogey team.
They were a huge team. I mean, they were probably the one of the most unluckiest non-league sides because as soon as we got the automatic promotion from non-league football into the Football League, they fell away, didn't they, Altrincham, as a side? And it's a nice little ground there, and I've been across there a few times to matches as well, and obviously seen Wycombe there. The Dennis Green 4-goal evening was brilliant, and so been there a good few times to Altrincham's ground, and But yeah, they were a huge side. They beat Birmingham City actually in the FA Cup, if I remember right. I think it was there. Or was it a Kidderminster? That might have been Kidderminster. I don't know.
Anyway, I derailed your memories. I derailed. Sorry.
Yeah. The other another memory is another. It was the Leek Town saga, which your recent
yes, John Palmer. Yes.
Victim, sort of mentioned, and mine. I got a great my story from that evening. I was at the university at the time, and I sort of shouted across the lecture theatre to a mate of mine, "Do you fancy going to football tonight?" He sort of said where. I said Leek. He thought I said Leeds and thought he was going to some sort of really decent game. And no, we're going to Leek Town. What? But yeah, so off we go to Leek Town, and the field resembled a ploughed field. It was just one of those nights. 5 each it finished and after the game we called in a pub just outside Leek. Frank Bruno had fought that night, and they were all talking about this fight that Frank Bruno had won. And then they asked us about the score. We ended up as a lock-in at this pub and didn't leave until. So my mate was absolutely sloshed.
He wouldn't have got that in Leeds, would he? Come on.
He wouldn't have got that in Leeds at all. And of course, then there were 2 replays after that. And he didn't come to another one for some reason. But I'm sure I took a couple of fellow sort of Wycombe supporters who were living in and around or studying in Birmingham at that time. And I'm sure it's the second one. My car, because I was the one I had a car at that stage. And the clutch went. And so on the way home, we were travelling along at sort of like 10 miles an hour with the clutch not really working. And every time we got to a hill, these 2 had to get out of the car and push. I'd love to hear from any of them if they remember that sort of incident. But
that's quite a good visual metaphor for us getting past Leakin. Was it 4 or 5 games in that run? So yeah.
I mean, other memories, I guess, finally getting to Wembley. The sort of having had all of that upset, I guess, back in 81, to get there against Kidderminster and then again with the Runcorn game and the Preston game was just fabulous with Dave Carroll's goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, superb.
Brilliant. The FA Cup run, of course, Leicester City away. How good their fans were after the game. I can remember walking down the street after, and Leicester fans were literally sort of patting us on the back and shaking our hands and saying "well done." And I thought that was marvellous. That they were so good that day. But yeah, we have a motorhome, and these days a lot of the games we get to, we take the motorhome basically. So I'll sort of work out. My wife's geography isn't that great, so it's amazing how we end up very close to a Wycombe game on any of the trips that we have planned. and we were away for the Wembley final against Oxford. And there was me dancing around the campsite with my flag at sort of 10:30. I feared getting chucked off the campsite, basically, at that stage. So that was another fabulous memory. But if I'm going to pick my greatest memory, or potentially my greatest memory, it's going to be the 5th of November, 2024.
Wow, fantastic.
It's going to be Stockport County 2 weeks ago, because I've lived in this town for 30 years. I've been to 6-0 defeats, 4-1 defeats. I've had to go to work after that sort of thing. and that night was just amazing. I don't think I've properly come down since then.
Oh, this is lovely, because normally, memories and quite rightly so are from different eras, different decades, and we've had all sorts, but this is the most sort of near to the recording date we've had. But actually, we're going to be talking about this game, I think, in 30 or 40 years. I mean, if I'm still doing this then, who knows? Probably not, but yeah, we'll see. But that is the sort of night that we will remember for many years.
I think it will, and we'll always remember where we were on that night of watching those, because there are games like that you do remember where you actually were when a particular game took place. But yeah, that evening was just, and it wasn't, although we could have scored so many, they still looked dangerous when they moved the ball around, and they were no mugs. I mean, they beat Reading the week before 4-1 and Bolton 5-0 the week after. It's just, it was just amazing. And I caught up with a good few Stockport County colleagues the following day, and so many of them contacted me, actually, because they just congratulated. I was there with daughter's sort of other half, and we were walking down the street afterwards, and the county fans again were very gracious in defeat, and just we said they completely outplayed, were completely spanked. They said, it was an amazing night. So yeah, that's got to be
That is a classic one. And also, when you beat someone 5-0 in the manner that we did, I mean, I'm not doing down these victories at all, but in the past when we were, to coin the phrase, to house a win and run the clock down and do it, we had very different circumstances back then, but the opposition would be very upset by us winning those games, where there's no doubt, is there, in a 5-0 away demolition, you kind of just have to hold your hands up and say, look, the better team won.
And we just outplayed them, I think, in every part of the game. We were first to the ball. Our attack was amazing. The defense was superb. Yeah, no, it was just brilliant,
Well, a fantastic entry.
We've been threatening to do that for a while, I think. It's just great that it was stopped, and that's what makes it so. That's what resonates so much for me. Basically, it was Stockport. It was Stockport at County.
And it's laid many ghosts to rest for you as well, because, like you say, it wasn't a happy hunting ground at all, was it? So
no,
yeah.
And I've been there for, I think, virtually all of them. So I think I have memory of missing one because of away on holiday at an early season game or something like that. But I think So I've had a lot of Yeah, I have been to a county game at home at Wycombe, where I actually think that I may be partly responsible for us breaking the hoodoo, really, because I had never seen County lose at County until I went to see them on New Year's Day this year, when they played Mansfield and lost 2-0 at home. And I thought to myself, brilliant. Stockport. I've seen Stockport County lose at home. That's it. The jinx has been broken.
Now we understand why we won 5-0. Paul, thank you for shedding light on the magic. Thank you. Well, it's a fantastic entry into the Till Death Us Do Part annals, and the most modern game we've put in, which is brilliant. Now, this is an equally tough question because I know of how we met. So your favourite player in the current squad, something new?
Yeah, I mean, I sponsor Dan Harvey, who I think has been a brilliant addition to the squad, and is really shown his true worth and has been these last few weeks. So I'm really excited to see how he develops within the team. Why did I choose him? Well, I'd always been a fan of JJ and the left back role, and I was, hoping that this guy would be the JJ replacement. I think he could be. I think he could be that and much more. His attacking intent is brilliant. I've always been partial to the odd left back. Basically, I remember back in the 80s, George Borg, who used to play for Wycombe. I mean, you could hear George Borg shouting from the one side of Wycombe to the other, basically, and he was a loud guy, and he used to make his challenges as early as he could.
Well, better than late as you could.
He got plenty of yellow cards when it was pretty difficult to get yellow cards or bookings as they were in those days. So yeah, but yeah, so he's I think he's an up and coming favourite player for me, but. If I'm really to choose, I mean, we've got so many to choose from, haven't we, at the moment? So many fabulous players there at the moment. We're blessed. But I've got to go for GMAC, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
GMAC, to me, he excites me every time he gets the ball. He scored so many wonderful goals. That one at Forest Green. Oh my word! I mean, I wasn't at Forest Green that day. I was watching it on Wanderers TV, and I remember there was that moment's thought, "What's he doing?" And then, oh my word, that's a Wycombe player.
Yeah, and
I remember that the season we came down from the Championship, our first game of the season, I think it was Altrincham at home. And he scored a fabulous goal that day as well. So many great goals, and he's such a great role model. He appears to be such a great role model for from what you and the guys are saying with his Uncle G or whatever it is, or Grandpa or whatever it is. And I think I watched the highlights from the sponsors meal last year, I think, and. what Freddie Potts had to say about him as well made me think, he's a real asset for our club, and we're lucky to have him, and long may that continue.
Yeah, he's a great character, and he has a little mischievous streak as well. And that little announcement about him extending his contract, when he hooks everyone in there, didn't he? Because we were with him in the day, and he was like, "I'm just going to stick this out on Instagram," and then everyone was really worried that he was off, and then he was just building up his own drama. He loved it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Well, Gareth McCleary is a very popular entry in this feature, and quite rightly so.
I'm not surprised. I mean, even my wife seems to have some sort of liking for him.
I can't understand why. No.
No, neither. Well, I can actually. Can't you? You look at him and you think to yourself, "Blimey, yeah. Where did I go wrong?"
Well, for the people watching this on YouTube, Paul, we're grateful you've kept your shirt on during this part of the show.
Indeed.
Someone suggested that Gareth McCleary should be the next James Bond, but obviously we want him to keep playing football for a few more years. But maybe that's something that he'll move on to when he eventually retires. Long way yet, though, I think.
I could see that, and maybe the Beast as the James Bond baddie.
Oh wow. Oh, this could be an altogether different feature. The Wycombe Wanderers James Bond annals. I mean, this would be fantastic. Alan Smith definitely is a sort of a Blofeld character.
Oh, definitely, yes.
All right, I'm going to go and write that one immediately after we get off this call, Paul. Thank you for the inspiration. Right, we're on to something borrowed now. This could either be your favourite ever loanee or player that you wish that we'd signed, but we never did.
Tricky, I think this. We've had some great loanees over the time. The likes of Eze, the likes of Potts, Fred. I'm gonna look for sort of choosing two here.
Okay.
One that's a loanee who, I mean, we did eventually sign him permanently, but I wish we'd signed him permanently at the end of that particular loan period, basically, and that's Alfie Mawson.
Yeah.
He was just brilliant that season in defence, and it came from nowhere, really, didn't he? With no expectations for him. That goal he scored against Luton, which ironically was probably what sealed the fate for us not being able to sign him.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
but yeah, so Alfie Mawson is one of them, and the other one I choose not because he came to us at the back end of his career, but it's what he did for the club afterwards, and that's Gareth Ainsworth, who came to us very briefly on loan, then signed for us. But those 10 years where, well, more than that, within the time he was playing, just an amazing guy. Him and Dobbo, to be fair, and I wish them all the very best in their new appointment at Shrewsbury, apart from obviously the two games we play against them.
Yeah, that's going to come around very soon. It's in December. We travel to Shrewsbury, and I'd say it'd be interesting to see the response from Wycombe fans. I think it's a nailed on. It'll be all four sides of the ground applauding Gareth Ainsworth that day. Certainly, if they beat Birmingham in their first game in a couple of weeks,
it'd be great. It would be great. It would be interesting. There, Matt Bloomfield's first game as manager was at Shrewsbury as well, wasn't it? So
yes, it's amazing how these little things all kind of play out all like this. But I think Gareth often gets overlooked as a player because of what he did for us as a manager, which is understandable. But as a player, he obviously was in the autumn of his career as well, but still contributed a magnificent set of goals and performances as a player.
He did, and he had that sort of. That side of him that was, I wouldn't say not the nasty side, the side where he was just completely passionate about his game, wasn't he? He just that sort of player that, he was a winner. He's a winner, and
absolutely,
and he would do what it took to win games, and loved him as in that short time as a player. Didn't get to see him as often as I would have liked as a player, but as a manager, spoke to him a good few times over the years, and class guy, class act, did so much for us. I can't overlook that when I think of the best person that's. There so,
it is.
he goes into that as well for us.
Fantastic. Right, on to something blue. This is your chance now to inflict some of your creative genius into the club shop. What should the club shop be selling that it isn't currently?
Okay, so I'm giving it a little bit of thought, and I've got, I think, 2 or 3 things which are, this is tricky, isn't it? This is tricky. So, yeah. So, I've mentioned my little granddaughter who rubs my club badge before I go to a game whenever she's here with us, and I'm sure that's good luck. She certainly did it before the Stockport game. So, but I've been to the club shop and I can't buy anything for her.
Right, so baby stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so something for. I mean, I got her a baby grow, and I can't even see those anymore. But she's outgrown that basically, and the youngest item I can get is 4 years and above. So she's in that interim stage at the moment, and her dad's a Manchester City fan, and I've got to get in before.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a great deal of urgency.
Got to get her into the quarters, and.
We can't lose it to Manchester City, Paul. This would be heartbreaking.
Yeah, it'd be dreadful. It'd be dreadful.
Right, so some baby items. 18 months to 4 years, I think, is the window we need to fill here, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is just a request, really, more than anything else. You used to sell some training shorts that had zip pockets.
Yes.
That can't get them anymore. So training
zip
shorts,
pockets.
zip pockets. Yeah, I tend to wear my training kit as me. Oh God, this is probably giving too much away, really. As my pajamas when I'm away on a camp. I bumped into I think it was the Wycombe safety officer or something on one campsite down in Linton. He spotted the kit and said, "Yeah, Wycombe fan. Yeah, there we go." You see,
that's it. When you wear your kit, no matter where you are in the world, it will start a conversation with somebody, or you'll flush out another Wycombe fan.
Right in the word. And the last thing that I thought was when you do your sort of your interviews with the players and whatever else. I think it's probably at the new training ground. Basically, you have a print in the background of the of Motson on the.
Yes, yeah.
And that brings me back to a memory as well. Actually, that particular day, because I was travelling down to that game from Manchester, where it only rains here. It never snows. It doesn't do anything else. It just rains. It rains constantly. It's raining today. It's rained since September, and then we had one day, I think, then, and then it's rained all summer as well. It rains here. But yeah, I travelled down to that day. There was no snow, and the snow started, I think, to fall just as I got sort of south of Stafford, and it was falling heavily. And I got to the service station just north of Wolverhampton, and came off and sort of said to my dad, "Look, I ain't going to be able to make this game." And there'd been no snow at Wycombe at that stage at all.
No.
But I said the snow is falling heavily, and I'm not going to make it much further. So it was the Hilton Park service station. So I got back onto the motorway and turned round at junction 10. And by that stage, the motorway was down to one lane as I turned round. And I turned round probably at the right time because everyone was sort of snowed in on the M6 that weekend, that particular day. And obviously then the snow sort of came to Wycombe, and that picture is legendary basically. So the thought process was prints of infamous moments basically.
Yes.
Moments in Wycombe's history that we could have up on the wall or something like that. So there'd be that sort of moment. There'd be Jack Charlton in the dressing room after the Middlesbrough match. Roy Essendo's goal at Leicester City, Hanlon's goal at Manchester City, those sort of things. Bayo's headlock of Gaza after the game after the game at Chesterfield, I think that was as well.
This is a great idea. This is fantastic.
A little bit, with because I think that picture of yours, they've sort of brought the colour out of the so the background, sort of like in a sort of a almost black and white. But yeah, so just make it a little bit arty, and that's I'd certainly buy something like that. My wall would be covered in them.
Excellent. This is an excellent addition. And also, just to talk about that photo, Stuart Roy Clark, who the photographer who took that photo, has been on this podcast a few times. A fabulous guy, very talented guy, goes under the name Homes of Football, if anyone wants to check him out. He takes photographs all over the world at football. And that Motti photo was the one that made him. That was the one that broke him through.
There you go. There you go. What a brilliant picture it is. I actually tried on eBay a few weeks ago. There was a card of that shot that I tried to purchase, but the guy had moved house and he's lost it. So I have tried to purchase at least a copy of that, because and that's this preparing for this inspired me for that. I thought that's something that we could have. Maybe.
Excellent.
Maybe.
Well, Paul, it's been absolutely wonderful to talk about your memories. There's some wonderful, varied and brilliant moments as well that I'm sure many fans will either enjoy discovering or rediscovering, as they may well have been there as well at some of these too. And also hats off as well for the inclusion of the Stockport County game, which happened to me a couple of weeks ago, which I think a worthwhile addition into our hall. Fantastic work.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Phil. It's been great chatting with you today. Really good.
Right, that's it for this week's Ringing the Blues in partnership with Virgin Media. Many thanks to Paul for sharing his memories. If you'd like to take part in Till Death Us Do Part, then drop us an email, media@wwfc.com. We'll be back next week with news of the Chairboys in the FA Cup. Come on, you Blues.